no way in hell you're going with your manager on a cinema date, a horror movie, because I know what the guy is going to do. Yeah.
Do you think there was any black magic involved?
Maybe I whispered in her ears. Told her I fell into a black hole because eventually I realised that she's not coming back herself.
Okay. What's your stance on the headscarf? Did you want her to wear a headscarf?
She told me so many times that she wants to wear a headscarf, and
Thank you for joining us. This is episode 2 of the International Bride series, and I'll confess, I'll make a confession here. We're supposed to have another guest on, but because of the traction the first episode got and the wonderful critical comments that we've got, well, most of them anyway, 95% of the comments were very well thought out and critical. The silent majority have spoken, so I've almost felt compelled to bring my guest back on. I did have to do a little bit of persuasion, but the guest was kind enough and honourable enough to come back on and explain himself, because this episode is going to be about cross-examination. I got constructive feedback, and what they said to me was, you are sympathetic and understand. I had to be humane, right? You know, it would be inhumane if I just started, going at him like a ton of bricks. So this episode is purely cross-examination. We are going to get to the bottom of this. We are going to ask those hard, serious questions now. The compassion will be a bit less now, perhaps, but we are going to get to the bottom of this. So thank you very much for coming back on.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on again. Like, I've looked at some of the comments, and you need to have thick skin. And to be fair, just before we start, just quickly tell me, why is it that you first agreed to come on?
I agreed to come on because I wanted to create awareness of marriage, how to basically sift through and tackle issues early on. And I wanted to create awareness of like anyone marrying abroad, what to look out for, the cultural change, the impact it has on yourself and your family. And if I can save one person from overthinking or giving them reassurance, I've done my job.
It's very noble. And just quickly, for the audience's purposes, after you did the first episode and we launched it, how many people reached out to you with their problems?
I've had quite a lot. My phone blew up with so much support. I was actually overwhelmed on Tuesday with all the support. A lot of people reached out to me and shared some of their struggles as well. And it's hard hearing some of their struggles, the mental health impact that they're going through, the struggles. And I'm there for them. I've witnessed it, I've gone through it, I struggled with it, and I could share my experience and relate to them. And anyone that's basically struggling, I'm here if you need a chat.
Very noble of you, and again, thank you very much for that. And immense respect from the Silent Majority team. Thank you very much for coming on again. Now, enough of the soppy stuff. So you said a lot of things last episode, and I am going to delve into more of your lifestyle. And in order to do a cross-examination, I have to profile you. I need to understand what happened prior to that and what happened afterwards. So I'm going to start from perhaps 5 years prior to you meeting your now ex-wife or potential ex-wife. Prior to meeting her, when was your last relationship?
You're putting me on the spot. So I was in a very serious relationship and on marriage talks. My parents knew about her, and she was of a different culture. She was Pakistani.
Right.
And my parents were very genuinely worried that I'm delaying the marriage talks, but it was just like I was waiting for her parents to accept me as well. I spoke to my mum because my mum was really worried, and I spoke to my dad as well, and I basically told them that I found someone of a different background. At first they were taken back, but they accepted it really quickly because they knew it's going to make me happy. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. We had a small argument, and bear in mind, my family knows about this already, like knows about her, and we're leading up to marriage talks. And one day she just disappeared. We had a minor argument, and she just said she'll call me back, and I never heard from her. after that. So it was quite difficult, not gonna lie, because I was waiting to hear back, because obviously I had so much on the line. My parents knew about her. My family were aware of her as well, and I was at a golden age where it was time to get married. So that happened, and then after that I took a bit of a break, waited around to hear back from her, and I never did.
Thank you very much for that. So I'm gonna dissect that. So this Pakistani girl, yeah, you're probably in your late 20s at the time, if I've got my calculations right. So how long were you in a relationship with her for?
6 years.
Right, so 6 years is a very long time. So you committed from the age of perhaps 25, 26 up until maybe 30, right?
Yeah.
And you told your parents about her. So I can empathise here, right? Even though to South Asian people with different cultures, but really to English and African and Hispanic people and everyone else that's not South Asian, they see us as the same. But there are distinctive cultural differences. They're not significant enough to say, oh, you're marrying someone from a European culture, but they are still significant in our eyes. So you persuaded your parents, and they were reticent at first. Well, why couldn't you get someone perhaps your race? You probably got all of that spiel. You managed to persuade them. So you're on with her for 6 years. Tell me what her parents were saying.
Her parents didn't approve that I was Bengali.
Okay.
And I was of a different race, different culture.
Right.
So, and the only way they were to approve if I had a higher status. So, like my career was more managed. I wasn't a manager at that time.
Right.
So she wanted me to have like a career goal, which I did. I progressed to management level. She also basically wanted me to have like my own place, which is completely understandable.
I think all girls do.
Yeah, which is completely understandable. And she wanted like a comfortable lifestyle as well, which I felt that we had. So I felt at the end I ticked all the boxes, because I did progress in my career, in my life, and I evolved to what I thought was marriage material at that time, and I was ready. And I even told my parents, and I vouched for her as well, and my sisters were aware of them as well.
So you put your neck on the line. You managed to persuade your parents. So let me just draw out the dynamics. Your parents are saying no, she's Pakistani. Her parents are saying no, you're Bengali, right? So that's almost a quagmire there. Nevertheless, you sort of worked towards her. You wanted to marry her, and all of a sudden, poof, she disappeared over a small argument.
Yeah.
Okay. I recollect you telling me that obviously your parents have passed away. May Allah have the mercy. I mean, and I've also recollected that your parents were quite elderly at the time.
Yeah.
They're quite elderly. So you told your elderly parents at a time where they're coming to the end of their life, and you're probably getting pressure from them to get married.
Yeah.
And they were probably thinking, he's not going to get married and we're going to pass away.
Yeah. So what happened? I look back and after we finished, or I didn't hear from her, I found out like a couple of weeks later my mum was diagnosed with cancer. So my focus from being heartbroken and trying to like wait for her to contact me, it was focused on my parents, like my mum's health. My dad's had dementia, and his condition was deteriorating. So my focus completely shifted. They were absolutely worried about me, because I felt that they knew that the end of life was coming. And they really wanted to leave with me married. And to a point on my at the last stages, my mum was telling me that she wants me to find someone. At that time, I knew my mum's her life was coming to an end, and to give her some peace and reassurance, I showed a picture of my wife, my ex-wife, and I gave her that reassurance that there's someone there, don't worry about it.
Just before we move on to your ex-wife, I'm genuinely sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you for sharing. So did this, not your ex-wife, but your ex-girlfriend perhaps, if you want to label her that, did she come back into your life?
On my mum's Zunaza, when my mum passed away.
So burial.
Yeah. She came. She and at that time, irony that I really wanted her to meet my mum, because I was so pressing for the marriage talks, and ironically she met my mum
when she was dead.
When she was dead, passed away. So, but she came and she apologized, and I felt that I wasn't ready to get involved in with a relationship with her.
So she came and she apologized at the funeral and she wanted to get back with you.
She gave the inclination that she wanted to, but I think at that time that ship has sailed because I was in a different state.
It was done, yeah.
It
was done. You weren't there. It was done, yeah.
Shifted.
I get that. Right. So just for the audience's purposes, your mindset was all over the place. Your mum has passed away, your dad's got dementia, and you've teed them up to this girl, and this girl disappeared. Poof.
Yeah.
So I want to recall, and I'll go back to the last episode, you said that, if I can summarise and paraphrase, you said that South Asian girls in this country are quite rigid and they have so many demands. Is that where that stemmed from?
I think from a young age, I was always taken back by like the demands, and I'll be honest, like the demands are very like simple. Like I just think I was just in a different place, a different mindset, and I was kind of all over the place when we ended my relationship, and then my mum was having difficulties, and then my dad was having difficulties as well. So my mindset was all over the place. Mentally, I couldn't process a lot of things at that time.
So you were mentally, what's the word? I'm looking for the word. I'm lost for words here. You were mentally inept. That does make sense. Perhaps it's not the right word to use. And then you went off to Morocco.
So we ended it on her terms because she disappeared. For 6 years, I was waiting to get married to someone, and I was at a very good age, and I felt for years that I was trying to chase her to make it work for marriage talks, telling my parents, and I was excited as well how my life would develop with her. And when it ended, I didn't just go to Morocco. I just booked so many trips, and I travelled around Europe just to clear my head a little. And I did a lot of solo travelling just to soul search. And then my friends, we decided to go to Morocco, and I needed that because I
just to stop you there. Your mum has passed away at this moment when you're travelling around the world.
No, this was before when I broke up.
Okay, so you broke up with her. Yeah. So fast forward, your mum's passed away.
Yeah.
And your dad's still alive at this moment in time. Yeah. Yep. And you've gone to Morocco, right?
No. I went to Morocco before my mum passed away.
Oh, prior to your mum passing away. So you went to Morocco, and this is where you met your ex-wife.
Yeah.
Right.
We were on talking terms.
You're on talking terms. Yeah. Now, this is where it's going to get, and please forgive me for sounding insensitive, but I have to do my job, right? Okay. So where did you meet her?
So we met at a shisha bar. It was a rooftop shisha bar. So I at that time I didn't know much about Morocco. So she made a recommendation, and it was a very classy joint. So
you met her at the shisha bar, or you met her prior to that?
No, I met her at a shisha bar.
Okay.
And it was a rooftop shisha bar. So I went and spoke to her because I thought she was very pretty.
How pretty was she? Sorry, just how pretty? Because we need to establish. Is it looks of her personality, or?
Looks attracted me first. I'm not gonna lie. Like she's a very pretty individual. Yes, like it's your interpretation.
Okay, so you met her at a shisha bar, and it was it a high-end shisha bar, or was it?
Yeah, it was a rooftop shisha bar.
Rooftop shisha bar, and what was their customer base? What sort of clientele did you used to get in there?
No, it was,
British people, wealthy people.
Yeah, it was wealthy people.
Wealthy people.
You can tell straight away. But the place was playing loud music, and I can't handle loud music in places because you can't really talk and get to know someone. So I asked her straight away after like 20 minutes, could we leave? And we did, and we went for a walk on the beach.
Okay, so you went right. 2, 3 top questions, right? What was her occupation?
She was at that time. She graduated from university, studied English. She was very educated. So her occupation at that time, she was unemployed, but she was receiving funding from her family.
Okay, so she was from a middle class background then, educated to university level and being funded. That's what rich people do in this country. They don't go to work. We have to work part time. They don't have to work. So she was from a middle class background.
Yeah, she was middle class background. She stayed in you could call it central London of Morocco.
So you went to her digs?
No, I knew where she stayed, and it was quite an expensive location.
Affluent.
So, yeah.
Okay, right. Now, fast forward. You told me in the first episode you didn't think anything was going to happen. You've come back now. Tell me how she played a part with your parents now, because you just mentioned it earlier on.
So, like my mum, it was suddenly she passed away,
Right.
and I was having small chit chats with my ex-wife at that time, and then I just received a call one day in January, and it was the hospital called saying your mum's got a few hours to come, like to pass away. I froze. I contacted my sisters. We rushed. My mum, with my mum passing away, it was very difficult. And my sisters are all married. I just had a younger sister, so it was quite difficult. I didn't have anyone to talk to. It was the first death in my family, so I didn't know how to communicate. My dad was very fragile as well, because he was wheelchair bound. And my mum knew about my ex-wife, because I told her that I'm looking to get married to her, and gave my mum peace. My dad, when he was on his last breath, he passed away from COVID. On his last breath, I wanted to give my dad some peace, that knowing that I'm going to be okay. So I video called my ex-wife, and I did like a gradual introduction, and it meant quite a bit to me, because I wanted him to know that I'm going to be okay.
So she held a special place in your heart from the outset, because not only has she your mum, your mum knew of her, but she actually spoke to your father, Allah have mercy on both of them, I mean, just before he passed away.
She didn't speak, she was just there on the video call.
So he saw her.
Stages.
So
No, he didn't see her, but
he didn't see her
on the last stages.
Okay, right.
So I wanted that interaction, because I know he could hear me.
He could hear you, okay. So just to understand your mindset and where you are, this woman, or girl rather, a woman, young lady, had a special place in your heart already.
Yeah.
So automatically, it could be anyone. Anyone would. So you had a special place in your heart for her, and you were mentally fragile, and I think that's the word to use, from the relationship that happened 6 years ago. So 6 years is a long time, in the prime time of your life, right?
Yeah.
So that didn't work out. So you have a certain perception of women. It didn't work out. You're a bit lost, soul searching. You found this girl in Morocco, an affluent girl. That's graduated. You sound like a man that graduated as well, and you got a good job, mashallah. So this woman has come into your life when your mum and dad have passed away, and your mum and dad know of her. So you will naturally have an affinity towards her. Yeah. You'd hold a special place for you, regardless of whether you married her or not. Fast forward. So now I understand why there was a special place for your ex-wife in your heart. Yeah, I get that. Thank you for clarifying that, because I think the audience will appreciate it as well. Moving along now.
Okay.
Lifestyle. So she's come here now, right? And she started working. You got her a job.
Yeah.
Why did you get her a job?
Firstly, we live in London. Okay. London is expensive. And I wanted her to learn as well about the culture of life, about working class as well. And I didn't want her to be at home. I wanted her to develop as well. And she agreed that she wanted to work as well. And I think it was quite important, because 2 incomes is better than 1. Okay. That was the main reason. And we have goals. We've got small goals, big goals. And the only way you can reach those goals is financially. And that was the reason. Funnily
enough, on my second or third episode, I interviewed 2 young girls, and I just explained that to them that, most people in London, I'm not sure you're not anyway, but most people in London, regardless of age, the average wage is about £40,000. So with £40,000, and I'll use the exact phrase, you won't find a pot to piss in. You won't find a pot to piss in London. And so to be that macho man and to retire your wife, if I need to retire my wife when I get married, inshallah, I need to be on £250,000. I've got an expensive lifestyle. Maybe I'm using hyperboles here, but most people can't retire their wife. So the reason I asked you that question is, she had to work, but not only just that, it was an extracurricular thing for her. Yeah, she needs to settle in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it was innocent.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was innocent.
and it would help her and stimulate her as well. Obviously, I wouldn't want her to work, but we live in London. Okay? And it helps, and she was contributing as well towards utilities bills and so on.
Right.
And we get to like look at our goals in the future, like if we want to move out, properties and so on. So I think like this day and age, men and women have to.
They have to work. Yeah, I agree. Unless you're rich. So unless you're rich. Now the way she dressed, I think I'm going to pick your brain here. How did she dress when she was in Morocco and when she was here? Was there any distinction?
No, she I think in Morocco the culture is different. Okay, like I was in a different stage at that time, and I thought that was acceptable. When she came to England, I set the boundaries. Okay,
what were the boundaries?
I basically said cover up. Okay, so I just
including headscarf.
Headscarf. The thing is, I don't want to force her to cover up, wear a headscarf, only because that's her journey. Now, if I force her to do that, that's controlling. Okay, she has to find it in her heart to do it.
Fair enough.
Then she will basically appreciate it and value herself.
Okay. What's your stance on the headscarf? Did you want her to wear a headscarf?
She told me so many times that she wants to wear a headscarf, and I wanted to give her that confidence to wear a headscarf, and I did. And I complimented her so many times. But it's her journey, and I can't force her. It's like you can't force someone to be religious or start praying.
Absolutely.
Okay?
There's no compulsion in religion.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that. Right. So, in terms of dressing, so the headscarf is out of the way. And did she dress conservatively in Morocco?
Yeah, she did somewhat. Yep. Obviously, I'm not there, so I only see her on a video call.
Sure.
So when she's at home, I will see her.
Yeah.
So I won't see her when she's out. So I was kind of oblivious to that. But I did think she was quite modestly dressed.
The reason why I'm pressing you on this, and I'm going to turn to the camera now, to the audience, I've been monitoring the comments, and alhamdulillah, the silent majority have spoken, and the people have spoken, you guys have spoken, and 95% of the comments have been critical, well thought out, and given to us by credible, intellectual audience members. And we appreciate it. Carry on giving your comments, because it's all about engaging. You think it, we discuss it. But there have been a few people, and I have to say this for my integrity and to protect and preserve the dignity of my guest. They've been dishing out dayoof amongst other disgusting things. Now, I'm going to take my phone out here, so excuse me for the unprofessionalism. And I asked a friend of mine to send me a hadith from Prophet ﷺ about what is that a dayoof is. So the Messenger of Allah said, there are three at whom Allah will not look on the day of resurrection. The one who disobeys his parents, the woman who imitates men in her outward appearance, and the cuckold. Right? So I just asked this brother these questions to understand where his mindset is and how he wanted his wife to dress. Again, it's her. Ultimately, it was her choice, but he was for her to wear a headscarf, etc., etc., etc. More importantly, though, just from me living in London and observing South Asian, more primarily Muslim culture, is that there are brothers out there, and I'm not judging you, it's up to you, it's your life, right? We live in Britain, that have their wives not wearing headscarves. Would you go and then call them dayooths as well? So it's quite easy to write a comment on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or wherever it may be about, labelling someone, but look at yourself and look at your own home before you start dishing out these compliments, because this is a severe thing. And, you call him dayoof. I just asked him the questions and he vindicated himself. So going forward, like I said, 95% to 97% of the people engaging on our podcast, alhamdulillah, are credible intellectual people, and they had well thought out comments. You've got the silent minority rather than the majority with their sort of flippant comments and talking before they're thinking, which is quite disgusting. So if you are going to, make accusations and allegations like that or of that kind, make sure you have factual, substantial evidence. Right, sorry about that. I felt like I needed to make that point.
No worries.
Yeah, I need to make that point. Now, going forward now, right? So that's the way she dressed, and you did say that you were funding her lifestyle. Just tell me about, you said 25,000 in Morocco. Wow, £25,000, really? 25?
Weddings are expensive, and not only that, we did the nikah as well. We travelled, and I don't regret that at all, because weddings come once in a lifetime. Well, for some, but and I wanted her to have that wedding, that dream wedding.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to interrupt you there. Forgive me for petulance. So £25,000 is a lot of money, even in this country, right? And over there, it's probably 5 times that.
Yeah.
So did her family politely decline? I'd say, or politely resist, saying, listen, you know, it's our daughter as well, we're going to pay. Or was it just, you're going to pay £25,000 and they were just like, yay?
I didn't even consult her family at all. I knew I'm going to pay it straight away. And I didn't want to have a conversation with her family. I was comfortable enough to pay for the wedding. And I thought, I work. I don't know the situation of her family. I felt very comfortable. So I don't regret that at all.
Do you think you were not naive per se, but because you paid that £25,000, her mindset of you changed? Because automatically, even in this country, everyone goes halves, right?
Yeah.
Tell me. I mean,
I did mention it, but again, I absolutely had no problem paying that. Maybe if it was in this country, I met someone else, it's a conversation to be had. But it was Morocco. I didn't want to press her or her family.
Was that a mistake? You paying the entire amount?
I think if there was an investment from her side, like her, she wouldn't have left. Okay, because she would have felt like she invested in that relationship. I'm not saying financially, but there would have been a lot more commitment on her side to staying.
Okay, now moving forward, these are more sensitive areas that I'm going to tap into now. So she found a job, and as you said, that you didn't want her to stand on her feet. I guess any man wouldn't want her wife to work in the first place, unless she wanted to. And the fact that she's doing a hard labour retail job, as most people do, you don't want that for your wife either. Yeah. So you got her a hospitality job in the office.
Yeah.
Just I need to. I'm sorry. I apologise, and it might sort of resurface bad memories. So tell me about that part. Tell me. So she started this job, and then what happened?
So it was going fine. She was getting paid. And I told her she doesn't need to contribute at the moment.
Did she enjoy the job?
She didn't enjoy the job at first. And as months went by, she started making friends, doing meetups with everyone. Yeah. So she started enjoying it. She started taking the job seriously. She was attending on time. And I think she liked the job more than she hated it at that time. And she would moan at me, but I think the circle of friends she made her enjoy the job a lot.
That's what matters in menial or sort of jobs that are boring. You have to work, right? Yeah. You have to pay the bills. Were there any early warning signs?
When she did say that she's going out with some of her work colleagues and so on, I questioned it. And at one point she said she's going to the cinema to watch a horror movie.
Sure.
Her manager nearly swore there. Yeah, her manager wanted to take her to watch a horror movie. Now, come on.
Just her manager?
Yeah.
No other colleagues?
Yeah. So she didn't understand like when guys suggest horror movies in a cinema.
Let me play this out. So she came to you very naively and innocently and said, my manager wants to take me out to a horror movie.
Yeah, and wants to catch up.
And she and the way she said it as if this is normal here.
Yeah. I thought it was a group of friends. And as I was dropping off her to the station, I found out it's just him and her. And I said, no way. And how did she react to that? She went absolutely berserk. She said she's got loads of friends in Morocco where she's comfortable with, and she knows how to basically safeguard herself. And I respected that.
Did you know that she had a lot of friends in Morocco? Because I just had a go at the camera about the youth. Did you know, and were you okay that she had a lot of friends in Morocco? Did you know that?
I did. The friends she hanged around with was girls. So I didn't see any guy mates.
So you didn't know she had guy mates?
Yeah, I didn't know she had guy mates.
Right.
And it's like if you have schoolmates and so on, like distant friends, social media friends, Facebook, long distance.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
So I never saw her hanging around with guys at all.
And then when you had this altercation with her, she said she has guy mates in Morocco. And was this the first time you learnt about that?
Yeah. So that was the first time she said she basically can protect herself. She knows how guys think and so on. So I was like, okay, but no way in hell you're going with your manager on a cinema date, a horror movie, because I know what the guy is going to do.
So did she go? She didn't go at the end.
At the end, she didn't, but
Good.
we argued non-stop for it.
How long?
That whole day, the day after, and she didn't understand. And I told her that this guy is making a move on you.
And she just thought he was innocent.
She thought he was innocent, yeah.
Fast forward to, and I'm sorry about this again.
Yeah.
I feel like I do need to apologise. When do you think her and her manager got closer? And from the sounds of it, he was grooming her. And to be fair, you know what? It's pathetic, right? He works in hospitality. How much do you think is on? £35,000 including tips. Think about it. I'm not. He can earn what he wants here, but look at the abuse of power here.
It's that management privilege.
Abuse of power.
Yeah.
You know, 35,000 on tips. The little boy went and broke up a marriage, and not only just that. Was he fully aware that your wife at the time, that was a married girl?
Yeah, he was.
And that didn't stop him from trying to take her to cinema.
No, absolutely.
What, did he try and flash his cash or say, "Oh, listen, if you come cinema with me, you get a promotion"? Did any of that happen?
I think he was trying to insinuate promotion to her, like a supervisor role, and she's mentioned it to me a few times as well.
So that's where it started. So you had these
Yeah.
few arguments, and then it sort of, you know.
Yeah.
So what happened after that? How did they grow closer, or was that it? Did you think that was it?
Okay, so I booked us like a Turkey trip, a quick Turkey trip, because I thought like she deserved it. Like she's working,
Sure.
And we needed a break because she just like moved to this country, and I thought let's go Turkey. You don't actually need a visa for her to go Turkey, so it's the easiest country for us to access. I booked the flights thinking her annual leave is going to be approved. I was quite naive because I didn't know hospitality catering works like that, and they declined it. He declined it. Okay, he declined her going on annual leave, a holiday with me. Okay, so I was like, how comes? I've paid for the hotel, the flight, the transfers, and she was like, no, he's not allowing me. And I basically questioned her so many times, why? He said, you've basically given him enough notice. Okay, we gave 6 weeks notice, he still declined it. So eventually I had tickets, and I told my friends, we can just go, like, replace her ticket. They came along with me.
So you were annoyed at the time that she couldn't get it?
Yeah, I was 100% annoyed, and I questioned. I'm trying not to swear.
Did you ask her to leave the job at the time?
I straight away was like, I did not like the job at all. I did not like the job because I knew what attention she was getting, and the guy was non-stop. He altered her shift so they can work together. Okay? He gave her shifts so he can work closely with her.
Did he give her overtime as well?
I'm not sure about that. But yeah, she did stay back several times to help out.
Sorry, I just to finish that story. So
Yeah.
Turkey now, she can't come because
She
the
can't
manager...
come, so I ended up going with my friends. But before I went with my friends, what happened was the day before I went with my friends, she said she's going out with her work friends. She goes out with her work friends. She comes back. She calls me saying she's coming back from a work friend who lives in Leighton. And I said, Leighton's 10 minutes away. I'll pick you up. And I jumped in the car and I said, I'm coming. I don't want you to use public transport. I'll just come and pick you up. Straight away, she turns up in our flat, and I'm in Leighton. I said, how comes that? She goes, I'll take an Uber. And I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, I will pick you up. Yeah, why would you take an Uber? It's just like,
You've
why?
told her that you're coming to pick her
I'm
up.
coming to pick her up. And she was like, no. So she comes back, and I have a feeling something's gone wrong. And I'm like, okay, so this is like early stages. I'm thinking, all right, something's not right here. So I managed to, I was ordering food for us. And I said to her, can I use your Uber account? You've got like that free Uber service or whatever. Yeah. Had access to her phone. Find out that she went darts with the manager. The manager asked her to go darts. And he was sending selfie pictures of them too. And I just went ballistic. I was like, what the absolute is going on here? So I basically checked her Uber where she commuted from, and it was from Shoreditch.
So not from Leighton,
Not
Shoreditch.
from Leighton. So that's when I realised straight away. I realised something is going on, and she's been hiding the truth from me.
How long do you think she's been lying for? Up until that point?
Probably, the last 3 months of like when I initially found out. Last 2 months when I initially found out. But she denied it, and I just needed more and more evidence because I just didn't want to make an assumption.
Do you feel like you made a mistake then and didn't end it then? Why didn't you end it then? Because for many men, that would be it. That would be like, that's the straw that broke the camel's back.
I actually did, because I went to Turkey and I spoke to her family and I said, I don't trust her, and I want to end it. And my whole trip in Turkey, my head was all over the place. I could not enjoy it. I was just overthinking non-stop, and I was so annoyed, so pissed off.
What did her family say when you were speaking to them?
They were trying to calm me down. They were trying to mediate. She was saying her side of the story.
Which was what?
Which was that she was with a group of friends.
Okay.
And he just sent selfies and whatnot. So, but yeah, like, I really wanted to end it, and then she called. She was saying, I asked her to leave.
Leave the job?
No, leave my life.
Okay, right.
And then after the last day I was in Turkey, she called. She said she's about to leave. And then we kind of had a discussion, and I don't know what it was, and I just, like, I gave in. I felt like, okay, it's actually happening. She's leaving, and I felt so bad, like, asking her to leave. I said, let me come
because
back.
you haven't got substantial proof. Was that what it was?
Yeah. So I'm going to be like paranoid, overthinking the whole time. So I was like, right, let me come back. Let's have a talk about this. And we spoke. She basically denied everything, said, like, I'm just assuming things. And I thought, okay, fair enough.
If I was in your position, God forbid, I wouldn't have gone to Turkey, because she's in this country roaming around now, no?
I know. 100%. I think I have to take blame for that. Like, I shouldn't have left her alone, working. She welcomed the idea, and I thought,
she welcomed the idea.
She welcomed the idea, but
Saucy
I
man.
thought like maybe she needed a break from me, because it's like we're newly married. It's quite intense, and not only that, I felt like I needed a break as well, like from just going abroad, because I was overthinking. I was really stressed. I was really anxious. What was going on between her and him, and yeah, like, I just left. I only went for a few days. It was like 3 days.
And you didn't really have a holiday. You were talking to her family.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so you've come back now, and she said that it's all sort of in your head.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on whatsoever.
Yeah.
Tell me what happened after.
There was I think what happened at that time was she went over and confided in that manager. And he painted a picture that I'm like a bad guy, that he was the picture perfect boyfriend material at that time. Anything she criticized me about, he painted the picture that he's not like that.
How do you know this?
She told me, and her friend told me.
And what did they tell you?
They told me that how he has narcissistic traits,
right,
and he manipulates. And her friend quoted that he likes stupid girls, and that offended me a lot.
So, for my understanding, and by my understanding, the audience's understanding, so the manager, so she would go and complain to her manager about you and your relationship, right? And what he'd say is that he'd manipulate her and tell her that he is what you're not.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's the only way he could go through the back door. Because he has to play the hero of the story.
That's how it works.
How it works is go to the back door. Because obviously
evil. I'm sorry, that is so evil. And was he Muslim, the manager?
No.
He wasn't Muslim, because us as Muslims, the punishment or the sin for breaking up a marriage and other things that I'm not going to allege now or assume. Right, sorry. Carry on. Yeah. So he's done that now, and you're well aware of this.
So I'm not aware of it at that time. I found out at the end.
You found out at the end.
Yeah,
okay.
At the end. But I knew he was basically planting seeds in her head.
Okay.
And it was
why didn't you tell her to leave at that time? Like, why after you came back from Turkey?
100%. Do you think I would want my wife at that time to work somewhere where she's getting groomed, preyed on, messages sent, flirting with her?
Yeah.
Of course I won't.
Why didn't you confront him at that time?
I wanted to. I went to his workplace, sat down, and looked at him, and he didn't even bat an eyelid. Okay, it was a decoy what I did. I went with flowers with her to show my presence. But I wanted to see who he was, and he didn't even make eye contact.
But he knew at that time.
He knew who I was.
So you asked her multiple times to leave. Yeah. She refused.
Yeah.
Yeah?
At that time, she was warming up to the job, and she said she'll leave soon.
So she liked where she was. She's got a network now. She's going out. Yeah. And another thing about going out. She's going out in the evening, you know, in our culture, and wider South Asian culture, after you're married and stuff, it's okay, perhaps you can go out with your friends and stuff like that. But in our culture, it's a no-no to sort of like go out and come home at 10, 11, 12 o'clock. How did you react to that?
Of course I didn't like it. The thing is, every time I didn't want to come across controlling, okay? She's just came to the country and I'm telling her, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. I want her to evolve and like understand what marriage is, okay? If I'm putting barriers, she's never gonna like evolve, progress, understand what a healthy marriage is. She needed this to do this for me, okay? So I just basically told her my dislikes, and I knew she needed to have a life. I've got my friends here, okay?
Yeah.
Like
and you've got your own life.
Yeah, anytime I'm stressed or overwhelmed, I've got friends I could go to.
She didn't have that.
She didn't.
Yeah, right.
She doesn't have anyone.
But you dug your own grave because of it.
I know.
Because of that.
And I take full responsibility as well, because I thought it was healthy for her to go out and have like a mixed circle of friends.
Wow.
Okay?
You acknowledge that's a mistake, right?
100% I acknowledge that. Okay, but these friends wasn't people randomly she met on Instagram or whatnot. Yeah. These were work friends. So for me to put restrictions on her work,
you can't. How can you?
I can't, because then she's going to portray me as like, oh, my husband is really controlling. He doesn't want me to do that. Then this guy who's trying it with her, he's going to further progress. So that's why I was cornered. So I can't really do anything about it.
You were stuck.
I tried my best for her to leave that job. And I said, I will support you, don't worry. Because I knew this guy was edging closer and closer every day.
So then what happened?
So we, like I said, we went Morocco.
And the trolley incident happened, right?
Trolley incident happened.
Yeah.
I found out the messages. This guy, I booked a flight straight away. I couldn't find a flight from where I was at that city, so I had to drive to another city to catch a flight. Going there, I'm hot-headed, so angry. I confronted him. I spoke to him on the phone because I had his number, and he laughed at me.
He laughed at you?
He laughed at me at that time. And he thought I was a little boy. And my blood was boiling. Okay, and I booked a flight straight away to confront him. You know what I mean by confrontation.
Yeah,
okay?
I know that.
I lost my cool straight away. And I'm not gonna lie, I said some disgusting stuff to him on the phone. And I'm glad personally I didn't meet him, because I would have probably lived to regret it. And it took me a while just to calm down.
So you couldn't catch a flight back?
I didn't catch a flight back because her family contacted me trying to mediate it. And I calmed down at that time. I had loads of people speaking to me trying to make sense of, and someone said to me that try to have your final conversation with her so you don't need to go back and forth from England. So I went back to have that conversation, and eventually I calmed down.
So where was your family in this? You mentioned you have sisters.
Yeah, so my sisters, I am really blessed to have really, really like good like family support. Okay, my sisters, like having like I've got numerous amount of sisters, 5 sisters, and they could easily turn around and effing and blinding at her, but they didn't. Okay, they actually wanted to speak to her and try to navigate her thought process. So they came across trying to mediate, but they were also giving me advice saying, you need to reflect and decide what you want to do. But they respected me enough to say, it's your decision. We can't give you that advice to leave her. You need to do it out your own accord. But my sister actually contacted her, tried to mediate and provide support for her, because obviously she's by herself, and my sister wanted the best for me and for her as well.
You loved her, obviously. That's evident.
Of course. And my sister saw how broken I was when I video called them and told them what happened. but they approached it very diplomatically, and they wanted the best result for both of us.
So in my head, you tried to leave about 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah.
But for some reason, you calmed down.
Yeah.
Do you think there was any black magic involved?
Maybe I was so desperate to make it work. I don't know about black magic, but I felt like at that time I was really desperate to make it work.
Because I get noted you had the psychological problems from your previous relationship. Your mum and dad passing away, your nephew passing away.
Yeah.
You have this affinity towards this girl. You brought her over here. You invested so much. But every time you're trying to leave,
Yeah.
you don't leave. You want to leave and you don't leave. A lot of men that are watching, a lot of women that are watching from this country or abroad, they probably would have ended it halfway through. Am I wrong to say that? Tell me if I'm wrong to say that.
I felt that I couldn't leave at that time. And I don't want to comment on if there was black magic or not, but I felt that I wanted to leave, but I couldn't leave. And I'm not going to discuss that any further.
Fair enough, thank you. I had to ask.
Yeah.
So, Morocco, the manager, you threatened him, he laughed at you, you calmed down. What happened to the manager after that?
I just left him. To it.
Did your wife leave the job after that?
She did.
She had to leave the job.
I gave her the ultimatum: if you want to make it work, you have to leave.
Okay.
But yeah, I knew they orchestrated a lot of stuff. Obviously, I said some horrible things to him, and yeah, he.
I think you should have said more, to be fair, without going too much into it. Perhaps dancing. Yeah. But anyway, so the manager disappeared now, right?
Yeah.
And your wife has just got you and her now, and you're starting afresh.
Yeah.
You're starting afresh. Tell me what happened then.
Okay, this is my doing a little. So I kind of, because that whole incident happened, she was in Morocco and she with this other Moroccan friend of hers, okay, and she spent a lot of time, he was around her all the time. I personally think he was obsessed with her. So he was around her a lot of times, and then eventually she came to London.
Did you know this prior to marrying her, that she had this Morocco? Because you told me now that...
at all.
You didn't know?
I didn't even know that they were best mates and they talk every single day.
Did she ever mention him before?
No, she vaguely said, "Oh, I've got college friends and so on." Yeah, but I never heard.
Did she mention the gender?
No, as in she has college friends, so there's mixed friends. Yeah,
oh, okay,
but I never knew
right.
She's actually having a conversation with a guy every single day. Because I would have questioned it.
When did that start? The every single day conversations.
It didn't start early on when she came. It was just bits and bobs conversations with a few of her friends and how she's settling in. The conversation happened more and more after about 6-7 months into our marriage.
Was the manager there at that time, or the manager's gone away now?
The manager was there, but she was putting more emphasis on the manager. Well, the manager was putting emphasis on her, and the other guy was kind of just around. For the sake of podcast, shall we call him Bum?
Yeah. Okay. Let's call him Bum. Yeah.
Because I'm very resentful with him because he's the one that absolutely ruined our marriage.
Before I get to that, sorry, I have to ask this burning question. It's just come to me now.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring the manager back in.
Okay.
Okay? And feel free not to answer the question, but I am going to ask you. Do you think she cheated on you? What I mean by cheating, not emotional cheating, because that is cheating. Yeah? Or commitment, because emotionally you can cheat, right?
Yeah.
I'm asking, did she physically cheat on you with this manager?
Look, I can't say. From the messages that I read, I think there was some form of cheating there. I don't think she slept with him.
Okay.
If you're trying to...
That's what I'm asking.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
no,
what I'm asking.
I don't think she did.
Okay.
I think he would have pushed that, and he would have thrown in that you'll get a promotion.
So he was playing the long game, the long short game.
Yeah, right. 100%. But I know her, and I know she would never do that.
So she
has that respect for herself.
Okay, good. Okay? So she didn't sleep with him.
No, of course not.
Good,
I 100%
good. Alhamdulillah, good. Because there's a lot of comments on YouTube now saying that she's...
Because bear in mind, she's a Muslim girl as well.
Alhamdulillah.
She has boundaries.
Yeah.
Okay?
So there are comments on YouTube saying otherwise, right?
No, she's a well-educated person.
Yeah, well-educated. So just for those people that have said that flippantly, I've got the fact now. So
everyone can make assumptions. I respect people's opinions. Good or bad, I still respect it.
But my problem is this, is that without having all the picture, the entire picture, the entire puzzle, when you make an accusation like that about someone's chastity, it's a big thing.
Bear in mind, that can trigger people's mental health.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people are making comments, negative comments about her persona, how she dressed, or the culture in Morocco.
Yeah.
Okay, that can trigger people's mental health. I work similarly in these fields. Okay, and you're portraying her in a negative manner, and I'm not defending her. I'll defend anyone that's against keyboard warriors. So we just need to be careful, mindful, with what we say.
But
exactly, mindful.
Most of my audience, I promise you, 96% are educated, and if you look at the usual comments, they're very well thought out, and they're very compassionate, and they're very objective.
Yeah.
There's that 2%. Yeah, I don't want to talk about them.
Okay.
But anyway, thank you for clarifying that up. Now, this bum. Tell me about the bum.
Right. Okay. This guy I absolutely resent, because he was the reason we parted ways. Because we're trying to give it a second go. And I felt he had an obsession with her. He would call her first thing in the morning, having a 3-hour conversation. Then they would go on the phone and play a game with each other, PUBG, for a good 3-4 hours. Okay. And then at night he would call her. And mind you, they're playing Arabic, speaking in Arabic. So I don't have a clue what they're talking about. I've asked her numerous times, to stop talking to him, and eventually she did, and you could see straight away he was showing that he's really upset about it. He was posting things on social media, him being alone.
Sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing. Sorry. Yeah.
But it was one of those things that I could tell straight away he had an infatuation, a complete obsession. Because which guy would spend the whole day?
How old was he?
30 years old. The whole day talking to a married woman. Okay, she obviously confided in him because they're speaking the same language, but he spent night and day talking to her. He wasn't working. He literally morning to evening they would be talking non-stop.
So you put a stop to that as well?
I put a stop. 100%.
So you came away from the manager, and now you've got this guy to deal with.
Yeah, 100%. And I told her, I gave her ultimatums. She chose me. But she was so miserable about it and really disgruntled, made it hurt, her feelings well aware. And it was one of those things I was like, okay, eventually she would understand where I'm coming from. And then when this guy disappeared for a brief three week period, she actually became a bit more closer to me. So then
he was an obvious barrier.
Yeah, he was an obvious barrier. And she understood it as well. We were engaging, our marriage became a bit more healthy, and then eventually he comes back again and they start talking. I'm working. I'm outside in the office.
From the sounds of it, you've got a highly pressurized job.
Yeah, I do. So I don't know who she's talking to. So and I could only assume it's him. And he was, but he was the reason. When it went pear-shaped with me and her, I spoke to him and I told him, listen, can you help me and make her understand what a husband's requirement is? I explained that obviously when you're single you have a different life, but when you're married, your marriage evolves. Your goals are aligned. You need to be basically working together to make everything work. Be considerate and just spend more and more time together. But he turned around and told me, you married her how she was before. Okay, now you're trying to control her. And honestly, I went to Morocco, by myself, to talk to him, man to man, because he made that comment. I went all the way to Morocco, flew out there, and I messaged him saying, hey, you've got my VR. Would you mind meeting me up and let's have a conversation, and I'll take my VR back as well. I wanted to have a man-to-man conversation. I flew all the way by myself. He has all the friends in Morocco. He said no. He said no.
And then how did he, after that, what happened?
So we argued about, I think I mentioned about her going out, hiding her phone in the last podcast. So she was on the phone to him non-stop and I think he was booking an accommodation for her. He basically was trying to get her to move away, find an accommodation, and given her advice on how she can be living in UK, like visa, how she can be exempt with her visa and so on. And I knew that he was doing this only because he was trying to find someone in America and get a visa pass. So I knew that he was talking, because she told me that he talks to older women in America so he can obtain a visa. So I knew straight away that this is the lifestyle this is the culture she's around. And that's why I tried to get her to move away from him.
Okay, so you didn't succeed in that, did you?
No, I took that clearly.
You didn't know. And so he came back, and then you gave an ultimatum again. If I can recall, she walked out.
She walked out, and I.
How many times did she walk out?
Every time we argued, she basically packed her bags up to walk out.
So she held you hostage.
I was cornered. I'm trying to make this marriage work, and every time I say the littlest thing, like you're not allowed to talk to this guy, okay, or the manager, or anything I would say is a walking out.
Just a side comment, right? And this is all indicative of it. If she did marry you for the money, or if she did marry you for the visa, she wasn't exactly going the right way about it, was she?
I don't think she married me for the visa at all.
Because she wouldn't have walked out. She'd have waited the 5 years and then leave you.
Okay, and she's well educated. I think it was 100% genuine. I think I say this to her. I said this to so many people. The devil whispered in her ears and told her to look the other way, and that's exactly what happened. When you surround yourself with people that don't have any aspirations, don't have any goals, looking for a free pass, okay, then you are going to be that person as well. Okay, so that's exactly what happened to her, and I think hopefully she gets to realize that, but I don't think it will happen anytime soon. But that was the main cause of our breakup at the end.
Thanks for sharing, and I'm glad I clarified that. I want to focus on your mental health, because you mentioned quite a few things to me offline, and I feel like it's provided that you're comfortable, that the audience should appreciate and get the insight of where you were at that time.
Yeah.
So after she's left, how did it affect your mental health?
Okay, so I just thought that it's just another tiff. As she was walking out, she had her bags packed, and I just thought, this is another.
Yeah, this happens. It's recurring.
And when I saw her, I tried my best, and I know people are going to call me pathetic and so on. How it happened was, when she was packing her bags, I played on YouTube really loud the Quran, and I was in tears because I wanted her to see sense, and I knew something. I knew this time round she might actually walk out, and I wanted her to stay out of her own will to make this marriage work. And I stayed quiet, just hopefully she'll change her mind. And she packed her bags. She came. The only thing she said to me was, "Do you know where my resident card is?" And I said no. And then that was it. She got a taxi, and that was the last I saw her. Disappeared
into thin air.
But the whole time she was speaking to that Moroccan guy in Morocco.
I can still feel the pain. I can sense it as well. So I'm sorry. I can't advise you on what to do on that. How did it affect your mental health when she left?
So it took me a while to realize what's exactly happened, and when you're waiting for someone to message you and call you, because I was messaging her non-stop, saying it can work. I was getting advice from my friends who were married for decades.
So you're still chasing her after that?
I was, and I'm trying to salvage our marriage, because
even at that point,
I had to give it 100%. Because if I don't give it 100%, I'm going to live to regret it. Because then there's going to be if, buts, and maybes.
You gave 120%, mate.
So I fell into a black hole, because eventually I realised that she's not coming back, and I was in bed and I couldn't get up. I was just, anything pops up on social media reels or anything with something like depression, mental health, and I just spiraled down, and I was bedbound for good 6-7 days, and I didn't realise that I wasn't eating at all, and I lost a lot of weight, and I couldn't sleep because anytime I'm trying to sleep, I could hear like me talking to myself and so on. So and like, I should have said this. Maybe she's going to come back. Maybe I overreacted. I was making a lot of excuses for myself, and that went on for quite some time, to a point where I fell into a very dark place, and my family and friends had to help me to get me back into the person I was again.
And how long was that period?
It lasted two months. I took time off from work because I had anxiety. I couldn't be around people. Anytime someone spoke to me, I couldn't handle it. And I realized any group settings, I couldn't engage. It was really difficult at that time because I knew it wasn't me. And I knew I was far from being myself. And I started praying from there because I knew I was fading, and my head was saying something. You know, when you talk to yourself, and I needed peace, and the only way I found peace was praying, and gym. You know, and they say welcome to the gym, bro. But praying really helped me.
And prior to that, just off that, you didn't pray?
I didn't, and I'll be honest. It's one of those things that I prayed and I stopped. I prayed and I stopped. And funnily enough, when our relationship was going pear-shaped, I started praying, and I thought to myself, Allah will give me answers eventually, and I got the answers.
So I'm sorry to hear, and I'm glad that you're back, to be fair, to your usual self.
Yeah.
Anyway, from what I can see. So you're in a very, very dark hole. And did you have any suicidal thoughts?
I think when you go through a dark phase in your life, you have thoughts, but I would never do that, but you have thoughts. I had dark moments when my parents passed away. My nephew, when he passed away, that really, really impacted my mental health. I didn't know it at that time, and I could openly say that I think I needed therapy at that time, and that would have really helped because I was not myself that year, and I wish I did. It would have probably changed my life, like how it panned out.
You had a lot of baggage.
I had a lot of baggage. I was talking to myself a lot, and I couldn't sleep. I had insomnia. I started taking sleeping pills just to put myself to sleep. So, but yeah, alhamdulillah, I'm in a very, very strong mindset right now.
I'm very, very happy for you.
And I know a lot of people have their opinions, and I respect it. And everyone's entitled to their opinions, but it does not affect me at all because I know who I am.
Yeah, good. You've got a thick skin and you've developed. So thank you for owning up to the mental health stuff, and it's good because it helps the narrative and the story. But there are a lot of men out there, particularly in our communities, where it is a taboo to open up and say I've got depression or to go and see a therapist, and perhaps we'll have an episode about that, on that sort of stigma. But thank you very much for that. Just final thoughts. If she came back, would you take her?
Of course not.
I have to ask you that question, forgive me.
Of course not. I think she needs to have religion in her. And she was a very good person at one point. And I think, like I said, the devil whispered in her ears. And she just needs to understand what morally right and wrong is. And I think that will happen when she has that spiritual journey. And she just needs to reflect and understand and criticize everyone around her, and take accountability. And I honestly pray that she does have a happy life and she sheds some wisdom from all of this.
It's very noble of you. Thank you very much. Well, you've heard his final story now, and hopefully you can make a more informed decision. But I think it's only just that I'm not sure about whether he likes it or not, but I am going to ask if his ex-wife is listening to this. We've heard his account. By all means, if you would want to come and give your account, we will facilitate. Get in contact with any of our mediums or channels, Instagram, TikTok. The email is going to come up as well. If you do want to come onto the show and give your account, by all means, we'll facilitate, because we've heard one account, and I'm sure you've got an account as well, before we make conclusive judgments. Thank you very much for watching. Next episode, I'm going to bring an expert on. And this expert has a lot of exposure to international marriages. So he's going to come on and give his verdict on my guest's story, as well as give us some insight into what the do's and don'ts of getting married internationally, because you don't know where you're going to get married. You don't know who you're going to fall in love with. You don't know where God, Allah, is going to take you. So tune in for the next episode. Hopefully you have appreciated the episode. Is brought some closure to my guest. You can please make more comments. Tell us what you like about what he has said. Critique him. That's all it's about. But make sure that the critique and your judgment is well thought out. And 97% of the silent majority, you are the silent majority, were apt, credible responses. So I look forward to your responses, and inshallah we'll take it on to the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you have a story that you'd like to share, we're here to support you. Please reach out to us on Instagram, TikTok, and email. We're here to listen, address, and let's make a change together.